Gravity. Reflect. What superpower is invisible and can pull things down without touching them? Think about things that fall. What pulls them down towards Earth's surface? Have you ever thrown a ball into the air and watched it come back down? No matter how high you throw it, the ball will always fall back to Earth. This is because of Earth's gravitational pull. Gravity is a force that pulls or attracts. What is gravity? You are probably sitting in a chair as you read this. What keeps you there? Why don't you float away into space? The answer is the force of gravity. This is the superpower mentioned above. Gravity is a force that pulls every object toward the center of Earth. Why don't people float away into space? The force of gravity pulls them towards Earth's center. Try jumping. You can feel Earth's gravity pull you back down to the ground. This pull is called your weight. Gravity is always a pull and never a push. All objects have some gravity. Gravity is a force of attraction between two or more objects. In other words, gravity is the force that pulls one object toward another. You don't notice any gravity between everyday objects because the force is so weak. An object must be very massive in order to pull hard enough on objects to cause a change. This is why you notice Earth's gravity. Earth is so massive, it has a stronger gravitational pull. You can feel yourself being pulled down toward the Earth. Force, a push or pull. Look out. Scientist in the spotlight, Sir Isaac Newton. In the mid-1600s, a young scientist named Isaac Newton wrote one of the most important ideas in the history of science. According to legend, Newton had one of his most important ideas after watching an apple fall from a tree to the ground. This experience caused Newton to think about the different forces in the universe. Perhaps a certain force pulls objects towards Earth? The solar system. Gravity holds together the solar system. The sun is the most massive object in the solar system. Therefore, it has the strongest gravitational pull. The sun's gravity causes other objects in the solar system, including planets, comets, and asteroids, to orbit or move around the sun. An orbit is also the path an object follows as it revolves around a more massive object. The planets, comets, and asteroids all have their own gravitational pulls. They revolve around the sun because the sun is much more massive. Career Corner, designing bridges. Picture a long bridge with many cars on it. Imagine how much the cars in the bridge must weigh. The cars in the bridge are heavy. How do we know the bridge is strong enough to support all that weight? That is the job of an engineer. Some engineers design and build bridges. They must identify all the forces acting on a bridge. They need to choose materials strong enough to resist those forces. They must put together the materials in the best way. Otherwise, the bridge may collapse from the strong force of gravity. Reflect. Distance affects the pull of gravity. The farther an object is from the center of Earth, the weaker the force of gravity is. Scientists understand enough about gravity to predict how it will affect different objects. We know an object high in the air will be pulled to the ground by gravity. Try now. Gravity causes things to fall down toward the center of Earth. Astronauts aboard a spacecraft have to adapt to the weak force of gravity. In space, loose objects float around, including the astronauts. Use your imagination and write how you would solve the following problems while working and living in space. Number 1. How could an astronaut sleep without floating off inside the spacecraft? Number 2, how could an astronaut keep a blanket from floating away while sleeping? Number 3, how could an astronaut keep his utensils from floating away while eating? Number 4, how can astronauts exercise if they can't push against anything without moving in the opposite direction?